Hey there, Saki here from sakitech. In today's video, we will do one of the most exciting comparisons for 2016. We will do a full comparison between the Apple iPhone 6s Plus versus the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. The S7 Edge, unlike the S6 Edge, now has a larger 5.5-inch display. As such, it has stepped into the territory of the phablets. As you know, the iPhone 6s Plus also has a 5.5-inch display, so they become the greatest rivals. To put things in perspective, the iPhone 6s Plus was released in September 2015, while the Galaxy S7 Edge on March 2016. They are both current flagships, one from Apple and the other from Samsung, and they dominate the smartphone arena. A lot of people are asking questions like, is the iPhone 6s Plus better than the newer S7 Edge? Or, shall I get the 6s Plus or the S7 Edge? Can't make up my mind. So in this video, we will do a full in-depth comparison, pick a winner, and demonstrate how to pick the right smartphone for you. Let's start off with the build quality. The S7 Edge is meticulously crafted out of metal and glass with no trace of plastic. The bezel of the device is all magnesium alloy, whereas the front and back panel of the device are built using Corning Gorilla Glass. Of course, with the S7 Edge, you get beautiful curves on the edges of the front glass, which adds a new dimension of beauty not found on other smartphones. The final result of this construction is a device that looks like a rock star and feels like $1 million. But the iPhone 6s Plus doesn't disappoint either. It's crafted out of aircraft-grade aluminum with artistic precision, with a sleek, curvy design and a smooth, continuous form factor. Both devices look gorgeous from all angles, so in terms of aesthetic looks, the choice will boil down to personal preference. Go ahead and tell me which one you think looks better and why in the comments below. I will tell you that I prefer the looks of the S7 Edge better, especially due to the curves. Now, where the S7 takes a major lead is that it is water resistant with an IP68 level certification. This means that you can submerge the S7 into 5 meters of water for 30 minutes and expect absolutely no damage. You can use your phone while it is raining, even if you want to take some photos in the rain. And if you ever accidentally drop your S7 in water, it will emerge with no water damage. Now with the iPhone 6s, you can do that as well, but don't expect it to be functional afterwards. The iPhone 6s has no water resistance at all. So, if water resistance is something you truly need, pay special attention to this category. And finally, as I always say, the fact that these phones are made out of smooth and shiny materials also makes them very slippery and prone to sliding out of your hand onto the floor. If that happens, and if you don't have a case, your phone will most likely get a shattered screen or cosmetic damage, and that's not what you need in your life. I advise a protective case, sleeve, or a skin, although that comes at the slight cost of hiding the true beauty of your smartphone. But what can you do? In this category, the overall win goes to the S7 Edge due to the water resistance and the sexy edge design. Now let's move on to the processor, memory, and storage. The iPhone 6s has a powerful 64-bit Apple A9 dual-core processor clocked at 1.84 GHz. You have 2 GB of RAM. Now the base model includes 16 GB of storage, but you can buy the 64 GB or the 128 GB version for a premium price. Now as for the S7, you have 2 versions. The US, Chinese, and Japanese markets will be getting a powerful 64-bit quad-core Snapdragon 820 processor clocked at 2.2 GHz. European and Asian markets will get a powerful 64-bit Exynos 8890 octa-core processor. Octa stands for 8, so we have 4 cores clocked at 2.3 GHz and the other 4 cores clocked at 1.6 GHz. S7 will sport a whopping 4 GB of RAM. The base model will come with 32 GB of storage and a micro SD expansion slot that will allow for an additional 200 GB of storage via a micro SD card. By simply having a micro SD expansion slot, the S7 has a clear advantage in storage. Remember, if you buy a 64 GB iPhone or a 16 GB iPhone, you're stuck with that capacity for the life of your ownership. This should be an important decision metric when you are considering one or the other phone. And of course, at the end of this video, we will run a processor and memory benchmark test to see which one of these phones has more raw horsepower based on the processor and memory. Alright, so let's move on to dimensions and weight. The iPhone 6s Plus measures 158.2 millimeters in height, 77.9mm wide, and 7.3mm thick, and it weighs 192 grams. The Galaxy S7 Edge measures 149mm in height, 72.6mm wide, and 7.7mm thick. It weighs 157 grams. Based on the numbers alone, the S7 Edge has the 6S Plus beat on all specs except the thickness. But, as I say in all my comparison videos, just about all premium flagship phones from the past few years are generally speaking featherweight and paper thin. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to dimensions, especially when it comes to making a decision. Let's move on. Alright, screen resolution, PPI, and quality. The iPhone 6s Plus has a 5.5-inch IPS LCD screen with a resolution of 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080. This brings the total pixels per inches to 401. The S7 Edge has a 5.5-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 1440 by 2560, which brings the pixels per inches to 534. Look, there's nothing wrong with the iPhone 6s Plus display. It is a gorgeous and clear display with accurate color reproduction. It is certainly a world-class display. It is, after all, as of the publication of this video, the latest flagship device from Apple. But the S7 Edge has the edge. It will be sharper, it will be more vibrant, and it will be richer. Those are just the facts. It may not be directly obvious, but it will be very obvious when you look at high-resolution pictures, videos, and even some content-rich websites. So the win here will be assigned to the S7 Edge. Let's move on to the software. Now, because software is something we use extensively, let's go into some healthy amount of detail. The S7 comes with the latest version of Android Marshmallow running the Samsung TouchWiz overlay, whereas the iPhone 6s comes with the latest version of iOS. Now, anytime you compare Android and iOS, two major differences become palpable: Android's customization capabilities and Apple's app ecosystem. First, let's take a look at the customization capabilities. This is a field where the S7 will take the win. You can fully customize this phone and personalize it to fit your personal sense of style. You can also add some spice to your home screens using live widgets such as calendars, clocks, weather, news feeds, and create color-themed folders. You can even download and install custom themes from the theme market on your phone, and your phone will look like a different device altogether. Unfortunately, none of this is possible on the iPhone yet. All you can change is the wallpaper for the lock screen and the home screen, and you get a static grid of app icons on each home screen with the ability to create folders, and that's all. Now, secondly, let's look at the app ecosystem. Now, although both the Google Play Store and Apple App Store have millions of apps available for download, the quality of apps and games that come from the Apple App Store is simply better. Let's be clear. Of course, the Google Play Store has some really amazing apps and games, but when you compare the quality ratio, Apple App Store wins by having a higher number of quality apps and games, period. Therefore, if you're an app-only person that is not concerned about customization features, and if you're an avid mobile gamer, iPhone will be the better choice. I would even say that the gaming experience on the iPhone is consistently better than Android. Now, another thing I want to talk about is the 3D Touch featured on the iPhone 6s. The S7 has nothing to rival the 3D Touch. What you get is a pressure-sensitive screen that can sense how firmly you're pressing on the screen. Based on the force with which you do press, it will offer you two basic functions: peek and pop. You can press lightly to peek into content such as hyperlinks, directions, photos, emails, text messages, and it's going to give you a preview. And if you press firmly, it's going to pop you into the full content you just previewed. On top of that, 3D Touch allows you to press on home screen app icons to bring up shortcut menus, which they called quick actions. This is kind of like the right click that you perform on your computer. And although the S7 Edge has nothing like 3D Touch, it has the Edge panels that are extremely practical and useful. And also in this case, 6s Plus has nothing to rival that. Basically, you can add a bunch of side panels for quick access to apps and other useful tools such as a flashlight, a compass, or weather. So both phones come with their unique elements. Alright, so let's move on to the camera. Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge offers a 12 megapixel rear-facing camera with an aperture of f1.7 while the iPhone 6s Plus offers a 12 megapixel rear-facing camera with an aperture of f2.2. As you can see, while the megapixel count is the same, the aperture on the S7 Edge is larger. The smaller the number, the larger the aperture. With a larger aperture, S7 Edge is able to suck in more light than the iPhone 6s Plus, which means the S7 Edge will be performing better in low light conditions. Additionally, the S7 Edge now implements a dual pixel sensor technology which allows for super fast autofocus. So let's be clear, we have two cameras that are amazing. The 6s Plus is no joke. It is truly a great camera. It takes sharp, crystal clear photos that could pass as professional shots if taken correctly. But so does the S7 Edge. But the S7 Edge has a clear lead on low light performance and it has faster autofocus. It is going to take nighttime photos like no other and won't have any problems focusing even in low light. While you may be able to take some nice low light photos with the iPhone 6s Plus as well, they will be a little grainy and noisy, whereas the S7 Edge will provide sharper shots. As for video, both cameras offer 4K recording at 30 frames per second, 1080p at 60 frames per second, and 720p at 240 frames per second for some amazing super slow motion video shots. And finally, the front-facing camera on the 6s offers a 5 megapixel f2.2 camera with the ability to record 720p, while the S7 Edge offers a 5 megapixel camera with an aperture of f1.7 with the ability to record at 1080p. So let's move on to the battery life and battery features. The iPhone 6s Plus has a battery capacity of 2,750 mAh, while the Galaxy S7 Edge has a battery capacity of 3,600 mAh. Obviously, there's a huge difference in battery capacity, but does that translate to a huge difference in actual battery life? No. What you are going to get is an iPhone 6s and a Samsung Galaxy S7 that both offer a full day of medium use with a single charge. Now, Samsung has a clear lead as far as charging options go. You can charge wired and wirelessly. On top of that, each of those options offer fast charging. For instance, you can charge your S7 from 0% to 100% within 1 hour using the fast wired charging with the included charging adapter. Or you can charge it wirelessly using fast wireless charging, which brings you to 100 from 0 in 2 hours. With the iPhone, you only have one option, which is wired charging, and it is not fast. It will take you a little over 2 hours to charge fully from 0 to 100 using wires. Additionally, the S7 also comes with an advanced software feature called the Ultra Power Savings Mode that transforms your device into a black and white bare minimum phone, only good for calling, texting, and other basic functions such as using the calculator or calendar. No movies, no games, no fancy media, just the basics. This will allow you to survive for a full day on a 10% battery life if you were stranded. So that's the battery, and the overall win goes to Samsung for being more feature rich, both in hardware and software. Let's move on to fingerprint sensors. Both the iPhone 6s Plus and the Galaxy S7 Edge has a touch to unlock fingerprint sensor. They both work quickly and flawlessly as they should with 99% accuracy. So this category is a clear win for both phones. Let's move on to some benchmarks. As we said earlier, let's do a quick benchmark comparison between the two phones using the Geekbench benchmarking tool, which simulates real-world scenarios to stress test these devices to their absolute maximum. So let's kill all the background tasks on each phone and run the test. And I'll fast forward to the end to save time and we can inspect the results immediately. Alright, as you can see by these numbers, the iPhone has a single core lead, so it's a winner on single core performance, but the S7 Edge has a larger lead in the multi-core score, so it's a winner in multi-core. Now, based on all the extra features, Samsung Galaxy S7 emerges as a winner. It has water resistance, offers a better screen, you can use an SD card to add 200 gigabytes of extra storage, has a superior fast focusing low light camera, and offers some fancy features like wireless charging as well as fast wireless charging. The only extra feature the iPhone 6s has that the Samsung Galaxy S7 doesn't have is the 3D Touch feature. But as a response, the S7 Edge does have the Edge features, the Edge panels we talked about. So let's take a look at this. If you are an iPhone user and have a desire to switch, just ask yourself, can I live without those features on the S7? If the answer is yes, you have to stick with the iPhone 6s. iPhone 6s is no joke. It is a flagship phone that dominates the marketplace and does everything it is supposed to do extremely well. On the other hand, if those features do matter to you, then it is the perfect time to switch to Android and experience an exceptional feature-rich smartphone, the S7 Edge. If you're a Samsung Galaxy user and want to switch to the iPhone 6s Plus, again, you simply have to weigh the features and see if they matter to you. Now, one category you have to pay special attention to is software, because most of our interaction with our phone is software based. If you're more interested in well-made and well-optimized apps and games rather than the ability to customize and personalize your phone, then Apple is a greater choice, because as we have said, it offers a higher quality app ecosystem than Android. On the flip side, if customization and personalization are more important than highly optimized apps, then the Galaxy S7 Edge is the way to go. I know that there's no clear-cut response, but that's just the way it is going to be until all smartphones are perfect. So I cannot make the choice for you, but I can tell you which phone has more features, and you have to weigh the options and go with what suits you better. Well, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to sakitech and give this video a thumbs up. Any comments, questions, or concerns, leave them down in the description below, and have a fantastic day.